Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you sounds impossible. A man kneels in the dirt, surrounded by killers, enduring the kind of humiliation that would break most people in minutes. But here's the twist. He's the most dangerous fighter who ever lived. And the man torturing him? He has no idea who he's dealing with. This is the true story of how 3 weeks of hell brought down an empire. Bridgewater Federal Penitentiary sits like a concrete fortress in the Nevada desert, housing 3,200 of America's most violent criminals. The survival rate tells you everything you need to know. Barely half make it out alive. Gang warfare determines who eats, who sleeps, and who sees tomorrow. For 8 brutal years, one man controlled it all. Vince "Hammer" Jackson stands 6'4", arms sleeved in lightning bolt tattoos and symbols of hate. His white supremacist crew runs 40% of Bridgewater through a simple formula: break the spirit first, control the body after. 200 inmates watch as Hammer corners a newly arrived black prisoner in the recreation yard. "On your knees, dog!" Hammer's voice echoes off the prison walls. "Time you learned how things work in my house." The man kneels slowly, hands steady, breathing controlled. Something flickers in his eyes, something that would terrify Hammer if he recognized it. But he doesn't. Not yet. "You're nothing but an animal here," Hammer sneers, kicking a metal food tray across the concrete. "And animals eat off the ground. Now crawl over there and clean it up with your tongue." The kneeling man doesn't resist, doesn't fight back. He simply begins to crawl. Hammer has no idea he just made the biggest mistake of his life. The man crawling through dirt and garbage isn't who anyone thinks he is. His name is Marcus the Phantom Chen. For 5 years, fight fans around the world chanted his name. His record speaks for itself. 52 wins, 0 losses, all knockouts. 48 ended in the first round. 35 finished in under 20 seconds. Marcus was the only UFC fighter ever banned for being too lethal. His signature move, the Phantom Strike, happened in 0.3 seconds flat. Cameras could barely capture it. Opponents never saw it coming. He'd deflect, redirect, then deliver surgical strikes to pressure points that shut down nervous systems like flipping a light switch. Temple, jaw, nerve clusters, he knew them all. His final fight ended in tragedy. Diego Martinez never woke up. Brain trauma, catastrophic damage. Marcus retired that night, swearing before God he'd never use violence again. But he's here now, in Bridgewater, serving 18 months for a bar fight. Officially, anyway. The real story? That bar fight was staged. The victim was FBI agent Rachel Torres, who volunteered for the beating. Because Hammer Jackson isn't just a racist gang leader, he's the American connection for the Volkov Syndicate, moving $75 million in narcotics across 18 states. His cell serves as command center for operations spanning 4 countries. The FBI spent 4 years trying to infiltrate. Traditional methods failed because Hammer operates on personal trust. They needed someone who could endure unthinkable abuse without breaking cover. They needed a phantom. Marcus's cellmate, Diego Santos, fought 3 tours in Iraq. The veteran noticed things others missed. The way Marcus moved, precise, economical, trained. His breathing patterns suggested meditation disciplines. The way he treated injuries showed medical knowledge. "You're not like the others," Diego observed one night. "Street fighters don't carry themselves the way you do." Marcus stayed silent, staring at his hands. These hands had made millions. These hands had killed a man. Now they serve a higher purpose. Maintaining cover meant accepting systematic degradation. Hammer stripped away dignity piece by piece. Racial slurs, animal treatment, daily humiliation designed to shatter the soul. Agent Torres, operating as a prison psychologist, used coded check-ins during mandatory counseling sessions. "How are you managing the adjustment?" she'd ask carefully. "The Phantom walks in shadows," Marcus would reply. Code for cover intact, mission proceeding. His back carried a masterpiece tattoo, a warrior's journey from darkness through suffering to redemption. Inspired by classical mythology, it told his story without words. Inmates glimpsed it during shower rotation, whispering about its beauty and mystery. Hammer controlled Bridgewater through calculated psychological warfare. His method, escalating humiliation until complete submission. 8 years, hundreds of victims, 0 failures. The White Thunder Brotherhood operated with military precision. Jake Pitbull Morrison served as lieutenant, former Golden Gloves boxer who earned his rank through savage violence. Corrupt Warden Collins ensured guards vanished when discipline was necessary. But Hammer's operation extended far beyond prison walls. Russian contacts supplied product. Mexican cartels handled distribution. American buyers paid premium rates. The network generated obscene profits, all coordinated from a prison cell. Marcus understood the stakes. This wasn't about stopping one bigot. The Volkov Syndicate poisoned communities nationwide. Their drugs killed thousands annually. Taking down Hammer meant saving countless lives. The psychological cost mounted like water torture. Each night, Marcus meditated, centering himself through breathing techniques. He visualized his tattoo's meaning, temporary suffering leading to ultimate redemption. Diego watched his cellmate with growing respect. Most men would have cracked after Hammer's first assault. Marcus absorbed punishment like it was weather, unavoidable but manageable. The veteran recognized warrior discipline when he saw it. Something nagged at Hammer, though, the way this new inmate moved, the controlled breathing during beatings, perfect balance even when shoved. During yard exercise, his form was textbook perfect. Veterans whispered, something about this guy felt different. But Hammer was too drunk on power to investigate properly. He'd broken hundreds using these exact methods. Why would this time be any different? As Marcus knelt cleaning spilled slop while hidden cameras recorded, Hammer felt satisfaction wash over him. He had absolutely no idea he'd just humiliated the deadliest human being in combat sports history. Day 3. Marcus enters the cafeteria during lunch, metal tray in hand, moving past 400 watching inmates. Conversations die. All eyes track his path toward the serving line. Hammer sits at his usual table, surrounded by his White Thunder crew. He's been planning this moment since yesterday when those controlled movements started bothering him. "Showtime, boys," Hammer announces, rising to his full height. Marcus reaches for a portion of mystery meat when Hammer's massive hand slams down on his tray, sending food exploding across the floor. The cafeteria falls silent except for metal clattering on concrete. "Did I give you permission to eat, boy?" Hammer's voice carries to every corner. "New meat pays taxes in my prison." Hammer forces Marcus to his knees in front of everyone. Contraband phones appear instantly, already recording. "Strip to your boxers. Time for proper training." Marcus complies without resistance, revealing his championship physique and that incredible tattoo covering his entire back. Several older inmates gasp quietly. They recognize that artwork from old fight posters, but Hammer's too focused on his performance to notice the murmurs spreading through the crowd. "Look at this monkey pretending to be human," Hammer announces through a stolen intercom, broadcasting throughout the entire facility. "Time to learn your place." He dumps an entire tray of slop over Marcus's head. The greasy mixture streams down his face and chest. "Now bark like the dog you are while you clean this mess. Use your mouth. No hands." Marcus crawls across the cafeteria floor on hands and knees, picking up food scraps with his teeth, while Hammer's crew records everything. The videos upload immediately with #PrisonMonkey. But when Hammer tries forcing Marcus's head into a nearby mop bucket, something happens. For exactly half a second, Marcus's body shifts into perfect fighting stance, weight distributed, balance centered. muscles coiled. The movement is so fluid, so practiced, that Hammer stops mid-motion. "What the hell was that?" Hammer mutters, studying Marcus's posture. The moment passes. Marcus returns to submission, allowing Hammer to complete the humiliation. But the seed of suspicion has been planted. Back in their cell, Diego tends Marcus's bruises with stolen medical supplies. "That wasn't a street fighter's reaction," Diego says quietly. "Who are you, really?" Week 1 brings Hammer's systematic campaign to break Marcus completely. Day 4. Bathroom duty. Hammer forces Marcus to clean all gang toilets with bare hands while being called every slur imaginable. Brotherhood members take turns spitting on him. "You sleep on the bathroom floor tonight," Hammer declares. "Easy access to your workplace." Marcus spends the night on cold concrete beside overflowing toilets. Guards paid by Hammer pretend not to see. Day 6 escalates to live streaming. Hammer has connections with white supremacist networks nationwide through his drug operation. Now he broadcasts Marcus's daily humiliation to thousands of online viewers. "Welcome to Monkey Training 101, Hammer announces to his laptop camera, generating thousands in donations from racist viewers. He forces Marcus to perform tricks, roll over, play dead, beg for scraps like an animal. The chat explodes with racial hatred and demands for more extreme content. During one broadcast, Hammer makes Marcus crawl in circles barking for 20 minutes straight. The video goes viral on hate forums, spreading the humiliation to tens of thousands worldwide, but Hammer's paranoia grows alongside his success. He researches Marcus's background through corrupt connections, but the FBI sealed most records. The lack of information about a simple bar fight makes him suspicious. "Why is his file so clean?" Hammer asks Warden Collins during their weekly coordination meeting. "Most street fighters have rap sheets a mile long." Collins shrugs. "Maybe he's just unlucky. First-time offender." But Hammer's instincts scream otherwise. Something about Marcus's controlled breathing during beatings. His perfect posture even while crawling. The way he absorbs punishment without breaking. It doesn't match any street fighter Hammer's encountered. Day 8 brings the branding attempt. Hammer heats a metal spoon handle in the machine shop, planning to carve property of Hammer into Marcus's back during shower time. "Hold him down," Hammer orders as they corner Marcus in the communal showers. As heated metal touches Marcus's skin, he remains perfectly still for the first letter. But when Hammer presses harder for the second mark, Marcus makes a subtle weight shift that causes Hammer to lose balance and burn his own hand instead. "Accident," Marcus says quietly, helping Hammer regain footing. Hammer stares at him suspiciously. That movement was too controlled, too precisely timed to be coincidental. Week 2 brings physical escalation. Hammer organizes daily sparring sessions where his 3 strongest members practice fighting techniques on Marcus. 3-on-1 beatings disguised as boxing training. Marcus takes every punch without fighting back, but his defensive movements reveal professional training to anyone watching closely. He minimizes damage with subtle weight shifts, absorbs impacts at optimal angles, maintains breathing control throughout. Diego watches from the yard, his military training recognizing combat techniques far beyond street fighting. During one session, he notices Marcus's footwork, maintaining perfect balance while attacked from multiple directions. "That's not luck," Diego mutters. "That's years of professional training." Hammer's frustration mounts as Marcus refuses to break. Most inmates would be begging for mercy by now. Marcus simply endures everything with quiet dignity. The shower accident becomes Hammer's next move. He arranges for water temperature malfunction, sending scalding water through the pipes. When Marcus showers alone, his skin blisters immediately, but he doesn't scream, doesn't make a sound. He calmly steps out and begins treating his own burns with makeshift first aid. Hammer watches through security cameras, amazed and frustrated by Marcus's pain tolerance. Agent Torres conducts her mandatory counseling session during week 2, carefully checking Marcus's psychological state without blowing cover. The integration process seems challenging, she says, examining his visible injuries. The phantom walks in shadows? Every step through darkness brings me closer to light, Marcus confirms, code for mission on track despite escalating abuse. Torres recognizes the reference to his tattoo. He's maintaining psychological stability by viewing suffering as purposeful. But Hammer's paranoia reaches breaking point during week 3. He's been watching surveillance footage repeatedly, studying Marcus's movements frame by frame. Everything suggests combat training far beyond what any street fighter should possess. I want a complete background check, Hammer tells his outside contacts. His investigation hits bureaucratic walls. Marcus's arrest records, sealed at federal level. His fingerprints, classified. Even his booking photo requires special clearance. Federal protection? Hammer's lawyer asks during their weekly call. Maybe witness protection. Maybe something bigger. Tank decides to force the truth through extreme escalation. He announces special entertainment for the entire prison, forcing Marcus to fight Pitbull Morrison while wearing a dog collar, live-streamed to his supremacist network worldwide. Betting pools form instantly. Thousands of dollars change hands as inmates and online viewers wager on how quickly Pitbull will destroy the prison monkey. Pitbull begins training specifically to kill Marcus. The former boxer practices with weapons, preparing for what Hammer privately calls an accident with a blade. As word spreads about the upcoming fight, Marcus meditates alone in his cell. He performs shadow boxing in slow motion, each movement perfect, deadly, beautiful. The routine reveals glimpses of his true skill to Diego, who watches in growing amazement. Hammer has no idea he's about to discover exactly who he's been torturing for 3 weeks. 3 weeks of systematic torture have brought Marcus to a crossroads. Alone in his cell after lights out, he sits in meditation, staring at his scarred hands. Tomorrow's fight will either blow his cover completely or get him killed. Diego can't stay silent anymore. I know you're not just some street fighter, Diego whispers urgently. I've seen Spec Ops guys with less control than you show. He produces a newspaper clipping hidden in his mattress, a faded sports page showing a shirtless fighter mid-strike. The headline reads, "The Phantom, MMA legend, vanishes after tragic ring death." Diego holds the photo next to Marcus's face in dim cell light. The resemblance is unmistakable. You're him, aren't you? Marcus stays silent for a long moment, then slowly nods. I killed a man, Diego. These hands are weapons. I promised God I'd never use violence again. Sometimes violence finds you whether you want it or not, Diego replies. The question is, do you let evil win because you're afraid of your own power? That monster Hammer is pure evil. Someone has to stop him. Marcus closes his eyes, visualizing his tattoo. The journey from darkness through suffering to redemption. Every humiliation has been a step toward justice. I'll give them their show, he finally says, but I do it my way, the Phantom's way, minimal damage, just enough to survive, just enough to send a message. Outside their cell, Hammer watches through hidden cameras, planning tomorrow's accident that will eliminate his suspicious prisoner forever. The prison yard transforms into a coliseum. 500 inmates form a massive circle while Hammer's crew sets up professional cameras at multiple angles. Guards are mysteriously absent. Hammer paid them to disappear for the next hour. Hammer operates the live stream himself, already broadcasting to 150,000 viewers on white supremacist networks. Donations pour in as racist viewers pay premium access to what Hammer promises will be the ultimate humiliation of a prison monkey. Ladies and gentlemen, Hammer announces through his megaphone, Welcome to Dog Fight Championship. Tonight we see what happens when animals try to fight real men. Pitbull Morrison enters the circle first, shadow boxing aggressively. At 6'3" and 255 pounds of prison muscle, he's covered in brotherhood tattoos telling stories of violence. The crowd chants his name as he flexes for cameras. Weighing 255 pounds of pure white power, Hammer continues his announcer routine, the undefeated prison boxing champion, Pitbull Morrison. Pitbull holds up an improvised blade for dramatic effect. 8 inches of sharpened steel wrapped with torn bedsheet. The crowd roars approval. This isn't just a fight anymore, it's attempted murder disguised as entertainment. Hammer's online audience explodes with excitement. Donations spike to 15,000 as viewers pay premium rates to watch what they believe will be racially motivated killing. And in the other corner, Hammer's voice drips contempt. Our house pet, our cleaning boy, our entertainment monkey. Marcus walks slowly to center, movements calm and controlled. When he removes his shirt, revealing his championship physique and that stunning tattoo covering his entire back, several older inmates gasp in recognition. "Holy shit," one veteran whispers. "That's the artwork from the old UFC promos." But Hammer's too drunk on power and online attention to notice the murmurs spreading through the crowd. The contrast is striking. Pitbull towers over Marcus, flexing and taunting while brandishing his weapon. "This is going to be embarrassing, little monkey. Hammer told me to make it hurt real good." Marcus stands perfectly still, breathing controlled, eyes focused. For those who know what to look for, his stance reveals everything. Weight perfectly distributed, muscles relaxed but ready, the posture of a master predator. "Kill him!" someone shouts from Hammer's online audience, the comment appearing on screen with a $500 donation. Pitbull rushes forward with wild haymaker punches, trying to overwhelm with size and aggression. What happens next defies explanation to everyone except Diego, who watches from the crowd with growing amazement. Marcus moves like water. Pitbull's massive fists cut through empty air as Marcus weaves between strikes so smoothly it looks choreographed. He never throws a punch, never shows aggression, just pure defensive artistry that makes Pitbull appear amateur. The crowd falls silent. Even online comments pause as viewers try processing what they're seeing. "How is he doing that?" someone whispers. Pitbull grows frustrated, increasing attack speed and power, but Marcus's defensive movement only becomes more beautiful. A deadly dance revealing decades of professional training to anyone watching closely. The phones recording from every angle capture the impossible. A smaller man making a heavyweight look helpless without throwing a single strike. Pitbull tries a desperate uppercut. Marcus steps inside the punch and delivers one surgical liver shot, exactly enough force to drop Pitbull to his knees, gasping for air. The precision is inhuman. "Get up!" Hammer screams. "Use the blade!" Pitbull pulls his improvised knife, lunging desperately. The crowd gasps as this becomes attempted murder on camera. What follows happens so fast that only slow-motion replay reveals the full sequence. The phantom strike. Move 1. Marcus's footwork shifts him outside Pitbull's knife thrust by exactly 2 inches, close enough to counter, far enough to avoid the blade. Move 2. A pressure point strike to Pitbull's wrist, delivered with surgical precision, causes instant muscle failure. The knife clatters away harmlessly. Move 3. A gentle tap to Pitbull's temple, so light it looks almost affectionate, that shuts down his nervous system like flipping a switch. Total elapsed time, 0.3 seconds. Pitbull collapses unconscious before his brain can process what happened. He simply drops like his power cord was unplugged. Marcus stands over Pitbull's motionless body, barely breathing hard. For a moment, the entire yard exists in perfect silence. Then someone in the crowd shouts the words that change everything. "Holy shit! That's the Phantom!" The realization spreads like wildfire. Phones capture every angle as inmates begin recognizing the legendary fighter they thought had vanished forever. The crowd erupts in chaos, some cheering, others backing away in terror. Hammer's live stream explodes. Comments flood in so fast they're unreadable. Within minutes, Prison Phantom trends worldwide as the video spreads across every social media platform. "Oh my God," Hammer whispers, staring at his laptop as viewer counts skyrocket past 2 million. "What have I done?" Guards flood the yard, but the damage is done. Multiple angles of the Phantom strike upload simultaneously. Sports networks pick up the story within hours. The video that was supposed to show racial humiliation instead reveals the return of combat sports' greatest legend. As Marcus is led away in chains, the crowd parts before him with newfound respect. Diego catches his eye and nods. The message is clear. The Phantom has revealed himself. But Hammer's humiliation has only begun. In trying to destroy Marcus, he's created the most viral combat sports video in history. Within 8 hours, Prison Phantom reaches 15 million views and climbing. The world now knows the Phantom is alive. They just don't know why he's in prison, why he endured weeks of abuse without fighting back, or what other secrets he's hiding. Hammer stares at his screens in growing horror as his ultimate victory becomes his greatest nightmare. Within 14 hours, Prison Phantom explodes across every platform imaginable. The video reaches 20 million views by dawn. Every major news network runs the footage on loop. ESPN analysts break down the Phantom strike frame by frame, marveling at technique they thought was lost forever. But Hammer Morrison isn't finished. If anything, his humiliation fuels a rage that transforms into calculated revenge. Using his drug trafficking fortune, Hammer hires the most ruthless legal team money can buy. Attorney Victoria Cross specializes in defending white supremacists and turning victims into villains. Her reputation for character assassination is legendary. "We're going to destroy him," Cross tells Hammer during their first video conference. "By the time I'm done, the world will see him as a violent criminal who brought cage-fighting brutality into civilized society." The $15 million federal lawsuit hits like a legal nuclear bomb. Cross files in multiple jurisdictions simultaneously. Civil rights violations, assault with deadly weapons, intentional infliction of emotional distress, attempted murder. Her core argument is devastating in its simplicity. Marcus Chen used his body as deadly weapons against an unarmed victim, constituting premeditated assault by a registered human killer. The media narrative shifts overnight. "Disgraced UFC legend unleashes deadly force in prison fight," reads the CNN headline. "Should trained fighters be classified as human weapons?" asks Fox News. "The Phantom returns to haunt justice system," proclaims ESPN. Cross masterfully orchestrates the character assassination. She releases heavily edited footage showing only Marcus's strikes, completely removing Pitbull's knife attack. The medical reports she submits paint Pitbull as an innocent victim of unprovoked violence. Pitbull remains in medically induced unconsciousness, though doctors privately tell Hammer the condition is psychological trauma rather than physical damage. But Cross spins this into evidence of near-fatal brain injury. "My client may never recover from the devastating attack by this trained killer," Cross announces at her press conference, standing beside blown-up photos of Pitbull's bruised face. The edited security footage becomes her smoking gun. Through careful manipulation, she creates a narrative where Marcus appears to be the aggressor, stalking an innocent inmate before launching unprovoked assault. Public opinion turns with frightening speed. Social media hashtags flip from Justice for Phantom to Prison Monster. Death threats flood Marcus's family. His elderly mother receives bricks through her windows. His sister loses her nursing job when parents demand her removal. Marcus sits in solitary confinement, cut off from all outside contact. 23 hours a day in a concrete box. He can only meditate and trust that his mission will ultimately serve justice. Agent Torres cannot risk contact without blowing both their covers. Cross's legal strategy grows more sophisticated daily. She files motions to classify Marcus's hands as deadly weapons under federal law, making any future physical contact attempted murder. She demands his transfer to Supermax facility designed for terrorists. This individual represents a clear and present danger to society, Cross argues before federal judges. His martial arts training makes him equivalent to someone carrying concealed weapons at all times. The precedent would be devastating. If successful, any trained fighter could be charged with assault for defending themselves in any situation. Hammer revels in his legal victory, giving tearful interviews to sympathetic media outlets. "That man destroyed my friend's life," Hammer tells Anderson Cooper, crocodile tears streaming. "Pitbull was just trying to defend himself from a trained killer who came here looking for trouble." The interview goes viral. Hammer receives thousands of supportive messages from viewers who see him as innocent victim of celebrity violence. Behind the scenes, Hammer's corruption network works overtime to support the false narrative. Corrupt guards destroy evidence of the knife attack. Paid witnesses change testimony. Security footage mysteriously develops technical glitches that erase crucial moments. Diego becomes Hammer's next target for potential snitching. 3 inmates corner him in the laundry room, beating him unconscious with improvised clubs. He's hospitalized with punctured lung, broken ribs, and internal bleeding. The message to other potential witnesses is clear: stay silent or join Diego in intensive care. Federal prosecutors, unaware of Marcus's FBI status, prepare additional criminal charges. The case file grows thicker daily as Cross feeds them manipulated evidence. Marcus faces an additional 30 years for assault with deadly weapons. Agent Torres watches helplessly from her counselor cover as the legal noose tightens. She cannot reveal Marcus's FBI status without destroying a 4-year investigation into international drug trafficking. The Volkov syndicate operation is too important to sacrifice for one agent. But Cross's investigation begins uncovering details that make Hammer nervous. Her team's background research reveals inconsistencies in Marcus's arrest record that don't match a simple bar fight. The sealed federal files raise questions about witness protection or federal cooperation. "Why would a street fight require this level of security clearance?" Cross asks during a strategy meeting with Hammer. Hammer's paranoia spikes. If Marcus is federal, the entire drug operation could be compromised. He needs the legal case to proceed quickly before investigators dig too deep into his own activities. The tribunal hearing is scheduled for Monday morning. If Cross succeeds, Marcus will be transferred to federal Supermax within days, effectively ending any chance of completing his mission. Hammer arranges for Marcus to be moved back to general population the night before the hearing. Officially, it's for transport logistics. Unofficially, Hammer plans one final accident to eliminate the threat permanently. 3 inmates receive payments of $10,000 each to ensure Marcus doesn't survive until morning. Shanks are distributed. Alibis are prepared. But Hammer makes one crucial mistake. Agent Torres, monitoring all prison communications through FBI channels, discovers financial transfers that reveal Hammer's true operation scope. The drug network isn't just state-level, it's international, involving Russian cartels and Mexican distributors. Marcus's mission has uncovered something far bigger than anyone realized. As guards escort Marcus back to general population for his final night, he overhears casual conversation about the accident scheduled for dinner time. The Phantom walks into what everyone believes will be his last meal. The federal courthouse erupts with media chaos on Monday morning. News vans line the streets while protesters wave signs reading, "Lock up the Phantom" and "Justice for Pitbull." Hammer's legal team has orchestrated a circus that puts the spotlight exactly where they want it. Inside courtroom 9B, Judge Patricia Henderson presides over what promises to be the most watched tribunal hearing in recent history. The gallery overflows with reporters, Hammer's supremacist supporters, and curious onlookers drawn by viral fame. Hammer enters in a wheelchair wearing a neck brace he doesn't need. His performance has been rehearsed for weeks. Attorney Victoria Cross wheels him to the plaintiff's table, while photographers capture every angle. Marcus sits alone at the defendant's table, having refused court-appointed counsel. His orange jumpsuit contrasts sharply with Cross's expensive suit and Hammer's theatrical medical props. To observers, he appears defenseless against the legal juggernaut arrayed against him. Cross begins with devastating precision. She presents the edited security footage showing only Marcus's strikes, carefully removing all evidence of Pitbull's knife attack. The judge watches in silence as the video portrays one-sided assault by a trained killer on an innocent inmate. "Your Honor," Cross's voice rings with righteous indignation, "the defendant used his hands as deadly weapons against my clients. His martial arts training makes him equivalent to someone carrying concealed firearms at all times." The medical testimony comes next. Paid doctors describe Pitbull's severe traumatic brain injury caused by Marcus's vicious assault. They recommend lifetime care and monitoring, inflating the damage to support the $15 million lawsuit. Hammer takes the witness stand for his Oscar-worthy performance. Tears flow on command as he describes being terrorized by a trained killer who threatened everyone's safety. "I tried to be friendly," Hammer lies smoothly. "But he was looking for trouble from day one. You could see the violence in his eyes. Pitbull was just trying to protect the other inmates when this monster attacked." Cross presents witness after witness, all paid or intimidated into supporting Hammer's false narrative. Their testimony paints Marcus as an aggressive predator who stalked Pitbull before launching unprovoked assault. The evidence appears overwhelming. Marcus faces not only the $15 million civil judgment, but additional federal charges that could add 30 years to his sentence. Cross has constructed a legal masterpiece that seems unbeatable. Judge Henderson calls for recess, clearly troubled by the apparent evidence of premeditated violence. In the hallway, reporters speculate about Marcus's inevitable conviction. But when court reconvenes, something has changed in Marcus's demeanor. He rises to address the court with quiet confidence that surprises everyone present. "Your Honor, I don't deny my skills or the damage I caused," Marcus begins, his voice carrying through the silent courtroom. "But there's one element missing from this carefully constructed story." He turns to face Hammer directly across the courtroom. "Tell them about the weapon, Hammer." Cross objects immediately, but Marcus continues with surgical precision. 8 inches long, made from a cafeteria spoon filed to razor sharpness in the machine shop, handle wrapped with torn bedsheet from cell block C, hidden in Pitbull's waistband for 4 days before the fight. Hammer's face flushes, but Cross coaches him to remain silent. They've prepared for this desperate defense attempt. "Where's your evidence?" Cross demands. Pure speculation from a convicted felon trying to avoid responsibility. Marcus reaches into his jumpsuit pocket, producing a small recording device. "I have something better than speculation." The courtroom erupts. Cross shouts objections, while Judge Henderson demands order, but Marcus has already activated the device. Hammer's voice fills the courtroom. "Use the blade. Kill him. Make it look like self-defense." The recording continues, capturing Hammer's planning sessions, his instructions to corrupt guards, his coordination with white supremacist groups. Most damaging of all, his admission that the entire fight was orchestrated to eliminate a threat to his drug operation. "Impossible!" Cross screams. "Where did this recording come from? How could a prisoner in solitary confinement obtain surveillance equipment?" Judge Henderson studies the device carefully. "This appears to be federal law enforcement equipment. Mr. Chen, how did you acquire this?" The courtroom holds its breath as Marcus reaches his moment of truth. For 3 months, he's maintained cover through systematic torture and humiliation. Now he must choose between personal vindication and mission completion. Because I'm not just a prisoner, Your Honor. The rear doors of the courtroom burst open. Agent Rachel Torres enters with a team of FBI agents, credentials displayed prominently. Special Agent Marcus Chen has been working undercover for 10 months, Torres announces to the stunned courtroom. This tribunal is suspended pending federal investigation into international drug trafficking and organized crime. The revelation hits like a bomb. Hammer's face transforms from confusion to pure rage as he realizes the scope of his miscalculation. "You destroyed everything!" Hammer screams, wheelchair forgotten as he leaps to his feet. "Do you know who you're messing with? The Volkov Syndicate doesn't forget." His outburst reveals the international scope that even the FBI hadn't fully grasped. Cross tries controlling her client, but Hammer's rage overwhelms his training. 4 years of planning, 80 million in product. You think this is over? The Russians will find you. Every safe house, every identity. You're a dead man walking. Judge Henderson bangs her gavel repeatedly, but the chaos continues. Hammer's supremacist supporters realize they've been supporting a federal drug operation. Reporters scramble to capture every moment of the dramatic reversal. Cross attempts damage control, but the evidence is overwhelming. The edited videos, the paid witnesses, the medical fraud, everything unravels in minutes as FBI agents present their real investigation findings. The final twist comes when Agent Torres reveals the ultimate scope. Hammer's operation wasn't just supplying drugs. The Volkov Syndicate was using his prison network to coordinate human trafficking, weapons smuggling, and money laundering across international borders. This case represents the largest organized crime takedown in federal history. As Hammer is led away in federal custody, he makes one last threat toward Marcus. "The Phantom is about to become real dead. You'll never be safe." But his words ring hollow. The man who thought he was breaking a helpless prisoner has instead destroyed an international criminal empire that took decades to build. Marcus stands in the courthouse lobby, finally free to reveal his true identity to a world that thought they knew his story. The courthouse steps erupt in chaos as media realizes the magnitude of what just unfolded. Marcus Chen, the legendary Phantom, emerges into blinding camera flashes. No longer the broken prisoner who crawled across a cafeteria floor 3 weeks ago. "Agent Chen!" reporters shout over each other. "How long have you been undercover? Why didn't you fight back sooner?" Marcus pauses at the microphone, his voice steady after months of enforced silence. Sometimes the greatest strength is knowing when not to use your power. Every moment of suffering served a greater purpose, dismantling an international criminal empire that poisoned communities nationwide. The crowd of 7,000 supporters who gathered outside the courthouse erupts in cheers. Signs reading, "We believe in the Phantom" and "Justice prevails" wave above the sea of faces. The same hashtag that once condemned him, our prison phantom, now trends worldwide as a symbol of justice and redemption. Inside federal holding, Hammer Morrison's empire crumbles in real time. FBI raids simultaneously hit 18 states, arresting 63 cartel associates and seizing $280 million in assets. Russian contacts are identified through intercepted communications. Mexican distribution networks face international warrants. Pitbull Morrison awakens from his voluntary unconsciousness to find federal immunity agreements waiting for his signature. Faced with life in prison or cooperation, he reveals the truth about Hammer's operation, the forced knife attack and the systematic witness intimidation that supported Cross's false case. "I was terrified," Pitbull admits to federal investigators. "Hammer threatened my family if I didn't attack Chen. When I saw what that man could do, I knew I was dead either way." Attorney Victoria Cross faces disbarment proceedings and federal charges for evidence tampering and conspiracy. Her carefully constructed legal masterpiece becomes evidence of obstruction of justice. The edited videos, paid witnesses, and fabricated medical reports earn her a place in legal textbooks as a cautionary tale. Bridgewater Federal Penitentiary undergoes immediate federal takeover. Warden Collins and 17 guards face corruption charges. The facility implements phantom protocols, comprehensive anti-bullying systems, protection for vulnerable inmates, and mandatory respect training for all staff. Diego Santos recovers in the prison medical facility where Marcus visits him before leaving Bridgewater forever. "I should have trusted you from the beginning," Diego says, his ribs still bandaged from Hammer's revenge beating. "You trusted your instincts," Marcus replies. "That's what made you a good soldier and a better friend." What happens now? Now the real work begins. Hammer's network reached communities across America. Every dealer arrested, every trafficking route shut down, every child saved from those drugs. That's the victory that matters. Diego receives early release for his cooperation with federal investigators. The former soldier becomes Marcus's closest friend and training partner in civilian life. The personal transformations ripple outward. Pitbull completes his GED while in federal protection, eventually becoming a speaker about the dangers of gang manipulation and the path to redemption. His story parallels Marcus's journey, a warrior who found strength through surrendering violence. Agent Rachel Torres receives promotion to head the FBI's new undercover prison operations unit. Her innovative methods for protecting deep-cover agents become standard training for federal law enforcement. The statistics tell the story of systemic change. Prison violence drops 87% at facilities implementing phantom protocols. Recidivism rates plummet as rehabilitation replaces brutalization. Marcus's sacrifice became the catalyst for nationwide reform. The Volkov Syndicate's American operations cease to exist. 4 years of patient investigation, coordinated through Hammer's unwitting cooperation, destroys a criminal network that generated more revenue than most Fortune 500 companies. Hammer Morrison himself faces life without parole in ADX Florence, the supermax facility reserved for terrorists and organized crime leaders. In a final irony, he's placed in the same type of solitary confinement he arranged for Marcus, but without the purpose that sustained the Phantom through his darkest hours. The international impact extends beyond America's borders. Russian authorities use FBI intelligence to arrest 19 Volkov associates in Moscow. Mexican federal police dismantle distribution networks in 8 states. Interpol coordinates raids across Europe that net 104 additional arrests. But perhaps the most meaningful victory happens in a small community center in Los Angeles, where Marcus teaches his first children's self-defense class since his fighting retirement. "Real warriors protect others, not themselves," he tells 40 young faces looking up at him with wonder. "Your strength is a gift. Use it to defend those who cannot defend themselves." The children practice basic techniques, while Marcus emphasizes discipline, respect, and the responsibility that comes with power. A wall mural behind them displays his philosophy. True strength serves justice. Real power protects the innocent. As reporters capture the moment, Marcus reflects on his journey through hell and back to redemption. Every humiliation endured in Bridgewater's yard led to this moment, passing on lessons learned through suffering to the next generation. Hammer Morrison's racist empire built on hatred and violence has been replaced by something beautiful: hope, justice, and the knowledge that sometimes the greatest victories require the greatest sacrifices. The Phantom has completed his mission. Bridgewater Federal Penitentiary stands as America's model rehabilitation facility. The transformation seems impossible to those who remember Hammer Morrison's reign of terror. Where racial violence once claimed lives daily, inmates now participate in education programs, job training, and conflict resolution workshops. The numbers tell an extraordinary story. Prison violence has dropped 92% since implementing phantom protocols. Recidivism rates plummeted from 71% to just 9%, the lowest in American history. Former gang territories now house computer labs and vocational schools. The change validates everything Marcus endured during those 3 hellish weeks. Marcus Chen has become something he never expected, a best-selling author. When Phantoms Strike Back, A Journey Through Hell to Justice, spends 52 weeks at #1 on the New York Times list. The book has been translated into 43 languages and serves as required reading in criminal justice programs nationwide. But publishing success pales beside his real mission. The Phantom Foundation operates from a converted warehouse in Los Angeles, providing free services that transform lives daily. Self-defense training, legal aid, victim advocacy, and mentorship programs serving 125,000 people annually across 20 states. The Foundation's statistics inspire hope. 97% of participants report increased confidence and 0 repeat victimization. Scholarship programs fund 1,500 disadvantaged youth annually to pursue martial arts training focused on discipline and protection rather than aggression. Hollywood came calling, offering $70 million for film rights. Marcus donated every penny to victims of trafficking and drug violence. The People Hammers network had devastated for years. The movie, starring Michael B. Jordan, became the highest-grossing sports drama in cinema history. More importantly, it spreads Marcus's philosophy worldwide. True warriors fight for others, not themselves. Real power serves justice. The deadliest fighters are those who choose not to fight. The message resonates across cultures, inspiring similar foundations in 17 countries. Pitbull Morrison completes his law degree while in federal protection. The former White Thunder enforcer now advocates for prison reform and inmate rights. His transformation from racist enforcer to justice advocate mirrors the broader changes sweeping American corrections. Marcus saved my life by showing me another way, Pitbull tells congressional hearings on prison reform. Violence was all I knew until I met someone stronger than hate. Agent Rachel Torres's research yields groundbreaking discoveries about hidden talents in prison populations. Her studies reveal that 38% of inmates possess valuable skills that could aid rehabilitation if properly identified and nurtured. Her methods become standard practice in progressive correction systems. The international impact continues expanding. The Phantom Act passes Congress unanimously, requiring anti-bullying protocols in all federal facilities. 20 countries implement variations of Phantom protocols based on Bridgewater's success. The International Prison Reform Alliance forms to coordinate global efforts. Diego Santos manages the Foundation's Veteran Outreach Program. Former Marines, soldiers, and sailors find purpose helping at-risk youth develop discipline and self-respect. The program operates in 55 cities, with waiting lists thousands long. Hammer Morrison remains in solitary confinement at ADX Florence, serving multiple life sentences. The Volkov Syndicate never rebuilt their American operations. Russian contacts were eliminated or imprisoned. Mexican distributors found legitimate businesses more profitable than crime. But the most profound changes happen in unexpected places. A young girl in Chicago walks home safely because foundation training taught her awareness and confidence. A bullied teenager in Phoenix finds strength through martial arts philosophy. A former gang member in Houston chooses mentorship over violence. These individual transformations multiply daily, creating ripple effects that extend far beyond what any single fight could achieve. If this story moved you, share it with Phantom Justice to spread awareness about second chances and the power of purpose over violence, Marcus says from his foundation headquarters. Have you faced impossible odds? Do you know someone fighting their own battles? The Phantom Warriors Foundation provides free resources, training, and support. Links are available on our website. Subscribe to this channel for more stories of hidden strength overcoming injustice. Comment below, how will you use your strength to protect others? Remember, every person has the power to choose justice over revenge, protection over aggression, hope over hatred. Sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one who chooses peace, not from weakness, but from unshakable strength. The final image shows Marcus teaching that children's class. 40 young faces learning that real power serves others. Behind them, the mural glows in afternoon sunlight. The phantom walks among us still. In every act of courage, every choice for justice, every hand extended to lift others up. Dedicated to all who suffer in silence, and to those who find the courage to transform pain into purpose. The Phantom's greatest victory wasn't defeating Hammer Morrison. It was proving that even in humanity's darkest places, redemption remains possible for those brave enough to seek it.